What's up guys, it's Anders, and in this video I'm going to show you two ways to create volume automation clips in FL Studio.
Keep it real, I'm independent, I don't need no deal. I'm jaws on the beat, I got flow that kills. Do my thing with a few G's, Lauren Hill.
So the two things we're going to look at are ways to automate the volume automation on audio and MIDI clips individually so that we can still adjust our mix later without having to then worry about that volume automation as well. What I mean by this is if we automate the faders like we can see here, and then we want to adjust something in the mix later, we need to go back and adjust all of the automation individually, which is pretty painstaking. So we're going to do it in a way that doesn't affect those faders. So the first one we would look at is, say, a piece of audio. So the lead vocal right at the top here is a piece of audio, as we can see. Okay, so let's say we want to control that phrase right at the start. She starts off a little bit louder than everything else, and I just want to control that one little part. Really simple way to do it. Right up here where it says Vox Lead, there's a tiny little icon look next to the V. See how my arrow changes to the little hand? Cool, we're going to click on that. And what we want to do is go to Automate and Volume, and that's going to create an automation clip for us. As you can see, it lays it over the piece of audio. I don't like to organize things out like that. As you can see, I do big folders with everything included in. So what I would do is go and grab an empty track, hold shift, use the mouse wheel to bring that up so it sits below, and I'm going to put that clip just below there. If we hold command, we can just zoom in a little bit here, and we can right click to create some automation points. We're just going to make a couple of points here, and we're just going to have a little volume control just there, just to dip out that first little phrase that's a little bit louder than everything else. Beautiful. Now the reason that's really useful, it only affects the volume on the piece of audio itself. So if I was to double click the piece of audio, we get this little box just here, don't we? And what it really does, it affects this volume. It doesn't affect the fader that it's linked to, which is here. So I can always adjust this and it's going to remain the same here for that volume automation. So if suddenly in the mix I need to have the vocal way louder, I can just bump up the fader and the automation's going to remain there. So let's go here, and we've got the sub line just here, right? So frustratingly, we can't just click here and go automate and it automates the level. What we can do instead is either automate the plugin itself, or what I like to do is put something on the channel that can be automated. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, the sub channel, which is bass 1 just here, we can have the Fruity limiter on there, for example, which has a gain control, much like we have on our sample on an audio track. Well, here, now that we've got this loaded, we can right click on the gain control, and let's just make sure it goes back to 0. We can just hold Option and click. We can right click on the gain control and we can do create automation clip. Pretty much the same process, apart from it's put my automation clip somewhere awkward. Much like before, we'll just pop it below, and then what we could then do is control the volume like this. We can do it literally within the note itself. And what it's actually doing is it's controlling the gain here on Fruity limiter, not adjusting our fader. And that way we can still always adjust our mix and keep working. And just by adjusting a gain, it's not going to have any adverse effects. So guys, that is how I go about automating volume in FL Studio so that down in those later stages, we can still have a successful mix and not be troubled by having automated our faders. I hope that was helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.